As if to prove that all the guard members had been eliminated, only Bete's footsteps could be heard in the spacious, narrow, white corridor. Who knows? I'm just following the smell. Before Anya's doubts were dispelled, they arrived at the spacious room on the west side. A pure white room with a sacred atmosphere like a church. The ceiling is high and there is only one bed in the middle of the room. And a girl with light gray hair lying there. Anya, who was placed on the ground, didn't know what to say. Seeing that the girl was sleeping like the dead in this large room that seemed to have a soul wandering between heaven and earth, she stopped her movements. Eventually, Anya instinctively wanted to rush to her side. "Seer! Do not make noise." But she was stopped by Bete's outstretched hand. So Bete, who heard her speak, also knew who the girl in front of her eyes was. The werewolf who caught the main god's girl and followed the scent told her to be quiet. Anya, whose mouth was gagged, reluctantly nodded in response. "This is Seer." "Seer? Isn't this Freya-sama?" "It's similar to Mirror." What this guy said is basically the truth about the woman in the tavern. When the one secret method is activated, Horn and Freya'S 5 senses are shared. Although the war game started a long time ago. Aware of the situation, they naturally lowered their voices, including Bete, who did not want to give complicated explanations, just conveyed the facts. With unbelievable thoughts, Anya looked at the one exactly like Seer. No, it was Seer herself. This bed is also like a box-shaped coffin. The girl silently closed her eyes, as if she had entered eternal sleep. My heart felt sad, my chest was so painful and I was about to fall to the ground. Anya understood exactly why the rude werewolf had brought her here. "Ask her," he was saying. "Ask what is true and what is a lie." She takes Anya to the brink, and where is her true meaning? But Anya couldn't ask. Now she was scared to death too. Fear of being caught again and having the goddess Freya laughing. Fear of being betrayed by the girl on the hill. If the cruel truth is still out there, Anya will never be able to stand up again. Anya pressed her mouth desperately, blocked the sobs she almost let out, and managed to suppress her lungs almost sobbing and stood up. When she couldn't ask the truth, she could only stand there trembling. "Sorry. Anya." She heard the words coming from the girl's lips, and time stopped. "Is it true that you said Anya was kidnapped by that wolf?" The corridor outside got a little noisy. Appearing were Chloe, Lunoa, and the tavern staff who were chasing Anya. When they arrived at the big room, Chloe and the others were about to make a sound, but when they saw this scene, they actually stopped completely. "Sorry, Chloe, sorry, Luna." Lies are not allowed, and they heard these words in the sacred, white space. "Sorry." Ryu. Eyes wide open, she held her breath, shaking her heart with the weight of an absent elf. "I'm sorry, Mia." Mia, who just arrived here with Loki, also widened her eyes. Anya's eyes no longer listened to her commands. A torrent of tears came down and her tongue could not be well controlled. "Come on, stop me." Then, as if he shared that feeling with her. There were also tears on the hill girl's face. "Help me." Anya's tears fell and were caught by the girl's cheek. Anya's trembling hands gently touched her cheeks, wiping away the tears that had mixed together. Bete didn't stop her. Loki knew that this matter would be passed on to the goddess, but he didn't stop it. Watched by Chloe and the others who couldn't make a sound, Anya slowly turned around. She turned back to the girl on the hill, took a step, lowered her head and stopped in front of Mia and the others. A few drops of the liquid fell on her feet. The clear liquid bounced off the marble floor, sparkling. "Very scary, Freya-sama, it's even scarier." The voice was shaking all the time. The cat's moan never dries up. There were tears in Lunar's eyes, Chloe covered her eyes with her bangs, Mia watched seriously, and Anya raised her head at this time. "But," Seer said, "help her." Tears continued to fall from both eyes. Although her face was a mess from crying, this cat, which had been abandoned once, was still barking. I'm an idiot. What's true and what's a lie? I don't understand anything. Still. The wet cry of sadness turned into determination, and she screamed. I still want to save my family. In the hall where lies are not allowed, only wishes resounded around. Lunar, Chloe, and the other waitresses remained silent. Words are no longer necessary. Okay, what should we do? Mia. Finally, the god asked. The dwarf looked at Anya's tears, then closed her eyes. As if she was driven by determination. She clenched her fists silently, then opened her eyes tightly. Let's go. Then time returned to the present. Seer, can you hear? It doesn't matter if you can't hear. Whether you hear it or not, you're going to scream. Anya held the spear in her right hand, clutched her chest with her left hand, and shook her body towards the house of God. Go and save you now. Even if Ms. Freya says not to come, I will definitely come. Those who shook off the tears had already made up their minds. The confused cat let out a scream. Then, he pointed the tip of the golden weapon at the four flames and golden warriors, blocking the front, pointing at the tough warriors. Take them all down. Earn victory. Then stop Seer. The warriors' response to this has already been determined. Do not even think about it. No matter the four little brothers or the few remaining strong warriors, they all roared. The strongest legion charged forward with weapons, Lunar clapped her hands, Chloe licked her lips, and Anya swung her spears like a whirlwind above her head. Stay in the way. The two sides collided. As soon as the last battle that marked the end began, the warriors had a fierce conflict. Each side is a symbol of the goddess in charge and at the same time revolves around a single person. The golden weapon eliminated the enemy. Just know that the fists of destructive enemies destroy armor. Make the warrior vomit blood. Anya and the others withstood the quadruplets' attack, roaring their will. Seer, wait for us. The goddess's slender arms swung down and hit the armrest. How far do you have to go before you stop? The stone throne easily cut through his jewel skin, bleeding. But Freya didn't care, her willow eyebrows were tightly wrinkled. This is the first time. For the first time, I was so angry that I broke things. The fierce emotion revealed by the goddess made the earth tremble, the sky trembled, and not a single sound was heard in the house of God. Bathed in the guard's wordless gaze, Freya burned with anger. How much do I have to mess up to be satisfied? Hill girl. This is really a tribute to the horn girl. Or is it a curse on the other self that should be buried? I didn't ask for help for myself. Anya and the others only heard dreams and the result of mixed emotions. Save or something, it's so wrong. The goddess says yes. It's impossible to have that kind of thing, and the goddess will never admit it. The loss of control and limits made Freya unbearable, exuding extreme anger. Horn, Haydeen, and you. What the hell is going on? Why do you want this so bad? The thunder light temporarily stopped, replaced by the roar of Anya and the others, and the sound came from outside the temple like an echo in the valley. This was what Freya was worried about. The desire to order the rapid and complete annihilation of the faction and allied forces. However, the divine will itself is quite correct. This countermeasure is to deal with the worst situation today. At that time, Freya confused the sharing of the five senses, and the apologies from Anya and the others that she kept echoing in her mind were the contents of a dream. I thought she was still sleeping. Whispering the dream sequence in a half-dream and half-awake state. But it's not like that. This is a pass to visit the girl on the hill, the information about Anya and the others around her. No need to guess, it must be Loki the clown. Among the gods, only she, who has a deep relationship with evil, accurately understood the goddess Freya and the girl on the hill. The pleasure criminal planned everything for revenge. But now, just as Freya was worried, the battle situation had entered the realm of optimism. Anya and the others. And that, hostess. Mia. Belle. At the same time Anya and the others appeared on the battlefield, Ryu also arrived at the amphitheater. Seeing the two people who contrasted sharply, Ryu raised his eyebrows and immediately turned into a gust of wind. She picked up Belle in front of Otter, who had no intention of stopping her, and moved to a slightly distant location for treatment.